Tonight, we are going to travel farther back in time than almost any other journey you can imagine. Not hundreds of years. Not thousands of years. Not even millions. Instead, we will slowly drift back through an unimaginable stretch of time, to a world before cities, before language, before farming, before written history, and even before the first humans ever walked upon the earth. As you settle into a comfortable position, allow your breathing to become slow and natural. There is nowhere else you need to be. No task waiting for you. No decision to make. For the next few hours, we will simply explore one of the greatest stories ever told, the story of how we became human. This is not the story of a single person. Nor is it the story of one nation or one civilization. It is the shared story of every person alive today. Whether someone lives in a crowded city or a quiet village. Whether they speak English, Hindi, Arabic, Spanish, Mandarin, or any other language. Every human being alive today shares ancestors who lived countless generations ago. Our story begins in a world that would seem completely unfamiliar. Imagine Earth over 6 million years ago. The continents were already close to the positions we know today, but the landscapes looked very different. Huge forests stretched across much of Africa. Grasslands slowly expanded as the climate changed. Ancient rivers wound across the land. Towering mountains shaped the weather. The world was filled with creatures unlike those we see today. Massive elephants wandered across open plains. Ancient cats silently stalked their prey. Crocodiles waited patiently in quiet rivers. Birds called through dense forests. The nights were darker than almost anywhere in our modern world. Without electric lights, the stars filled the sky in breathtaking numbers. Among all these animals lived small groups of primates. They climbed trees with remarkable skill. They searched for fruit, leaves, insects, and seeds. They cared for their young. They communicated through sounds, expressions, and body language. At first glance, these creatures looked nothing like modern humans. Yet hidden within them were the earliest chapters of our own story. Evolution is often misunderstood. Some imagine that one species suddenly transformed into another overnight. Nature does not work that way. Evolution is incredibly slow. It happens over thousands, millions, and sometimes tens of millions of years. Each generation differs only slightly from the one before it. Tiny changes accumulate. Over immense periods of time, those small differences become extraordinary transformations. No individual ever noticed themselves evolving. Parents looked like their children. Children resembled their parents. The changes became visible only after countless generations had passed. This gradual process shaped every living thing on Earth. The wings of birds. The fins of whales. The sharp claws of predators. The long neck of giraffes. The colorful feathers of peacocks. And eventually, the remarkable human brain. One of the most fascinating facts about evolution is that humans are not separate from nature. We are part of it. Every bone in our bodies tells a story. Our hands still carry features inherited from tree-climbing ancestors. Our eyes evolved to judge distances across forests and grasslands. Our feet reveal the moment our ancestors began walking upright. Even the tiny muscles that allow some people to wiggle their ears are reminders of ancient ancestors who relied on moving their ears to detect sounds around them. Nothing in the human body appeared by accident. The sounds of distant hyenas echo across the plains. Large cats move silently through the shadows. Every sunrise brings another opportunity to survive. Despite these hardships, something extraordinary is slowly happening. Brains are becoming slightly larger. Hands are becoming increasingly skillful. Curiosity is growing. Our ancestors begin paying closer attention to the world around them. A sharp stone can cut meat. A sturdy branch can help dig for roots. A heavy rock can crack open tough nuts. Simple observations like these would eventually change the future of humanity. Not through sudden invention, but through thousands upon thousands of tiny discoveries shared from one generation to the next. The road toward becoming human was long. It was uncertain. Many branches of our family tree ended without descendants. Others continued for millions of years before disappearing. Only one branch would eventually survive to tell the story. And in the next chapter, we will meet one of the first truly human species, Homo habilis, the remarkable toolmaker whose simple stone tools marked the beginning of a technological journey that continues even today. So let the ancient African plains grow quiet once more. The evening sun sinks below the horizon. The wind whispers softly through the tall grass. And somewhere beneath a sky filled with countless stars, our earliest ancestors rest peacefully, unaware that their small steps are leading, ever so slowly, toward the future of humankind. Carry more. And eventually, use their hands for increasingly complex tasks. Around 7 million years ago, one of the earliest known human relatives appeared in Africa. Scientists call this ancient species Sahelanthropus cadensis. Only a few fossils have been discovered, but they provide valuable clues. Its face looks somewhat ape-like, yet the position of the skull suggests it may have spent time walking upright. Much remains unknown. The fossil record is incomplete, and each new discovery adds another small piece to the puzzle. Millions of years later came another important ancestor known as Ardipithecus. Ardipithecus lived in woodland environments rather than open grasslands. It could still climb trees with ease. Yet it also walked upright when moving across the ground. It represented a fascinating stage in our evolutionary story, not fully adapted to life in the trees, but not yet fully committed to walking across the land. Nature often works through gradual transitions. Then, about 4 million years ago, another remarkable group appeared. These were the Australopithecines. Perhaps the most famous among them is a fossil nicknamed Lucy, discovered in Ethiopia in 1974. Lucy stood only a little over 1 meter tall. Her brain was much smaller than ours. Her arms remained relatively long for climbing. Yet her legs clearly show that walking upright had become a normal part of everyday life. Imagine watching Lucy and her family moving across an ancient African landscape. The morning air is cool. Tall grasses sway gently in the breeze. Children remain close to the adults. The group pauses often, searching for berries, roots, seeds, and insects. Every sound matters. A rustle in the grass might simply be the wind. Or it might signal the approach of a hungry predator. Life demands constant awareness. At night, darkness transforms the landscape. Without fire to provide warmth or protection, the group seeks safety among trees or rocky shelters. Even today, scientists observe similar behavior among chimpanzees and gorillas. Long before spoken language existed, relationships were already shaping the future of human society. As millions of years passed, Africa's climate slowly changed. Dense forests began shrinking in some regions. Open grasslands spread across the landscape. For many animals, this change created new challenges. Some species disappeared. Others adapted. A few adventurous primates found themselves spending increasing amounts of time on the ground. The forest was no longer their only home. Life on the open plains was very different. Trees no longer provided constant safety. Tall grass hid dangerous predators. Food was scattered over greater distances. Survival demanded new solutions. Scientists believe that one important adaptation gradually appeared during this period. Some early ancestors began standing on 2 legs more often. At first, it may have happened only occasionally. Standing upright allowed them to see above the tall grasses. It helped them spot approaching lions or other predators. Their hands were suddenly free. Free to carry food. Free to hold infants. Free to gather useful objects. Generation after generation, walking on 2 legs became more common. The process was incredibly slow. No single generation suddenly became human. Instead, tiny improvements accumulated over millions of years. Bones changed shape. The spine curved differently. The hips widened. The knees became stronger. The feet developed arches that helped absorb the shock of walking long distances. Even today, your own skeleton carries the marks of this ancient transformation. If you stand quietly for a moment, your body balances naturally on 2 feet. This ability is so familiar that it feels ordinary. Yet it represents one of the greatest evolutionary achievements in the history of life. Walking upright allowed our ancestors to explore environments that many other primates could not. They could travel farther. And eventually, to every human alive today. But that story belongs to the next chapter. For now, imagine the gentle sounds of an ancient forest. Leaves sway softly in a warm breeze. Birds sing from high branches. Tiny primates move quietly through the canopy, unaware that they carry within them the distant future of humanity. The world remains peaceful. Time moves slowly. And our remarkable journey has only just begun. As the ancient forests of Africa stretched endlessly beneath the warm sun, life moved at a gentle pace. Morning mist drifted through the trees. Birds welcomed the dawn with soft calls. Tiny streams flowed quietly over smooth stones. High above the forest floor, small primates awakened one by one, their eyes adjusting to the first rays of sunlight. Millions of years had passed since the dinosaurs disappeared. The world now belonged to mammals. The forests were rich with life, offering fruit, leaves, flowers, insects, and seeds to those clever enough to find them. Among these many creatures lived the distant ancestors of every monkey, ape, and human alive today. They were small, agile, and highly social. Unlike many animals that lived alone, these primates survived by staying together. A group could watch for predators more effectively than a single individual. While one searched for food, another kept watch from a nearby branch. If danger appeared, loud warning calls echoed through the forest. Living together offered protection. It also encouraged communication. At first, communication was simple. A sharp cry warned of danger. A gentle sound comforted a frightened infant. Facial expressions revealed fear, curiosity, or excitement. Hands reached out to groom one another, carefully removing dirt and insects from thick fur. This grooming was more than simple cleaning. It strengthened friendships. It built trust. These features proved so successful that many remain part of our own bodies today. Look at your own hands for a moment. Notice your thumbs. Unlike many animals, your thumb can touch each finger. This simple ability allows us to hold tools, write with pencils, tie knots, and perform delicate tasks. Long before humans existed, these flexible hands evolved for climbing through ancient forests. Our excellent color vision also tells part of this story. Many scientists believe that seeing bright colors helped early primates identify ripe fruit among green leaves. Those who found food more efficiently survived more often and raised healthy offspring. Over countless generations, sharper color vision spread through the population. Every improvement, no matter how small, offered another advantage. The forests became classrooms without teachers. Every challenge became a lesson. Finding food. Avoiding predators. Caring for young. Remembering safe routes through the trees. All of these experiences slowly encouraged the development of larger and more capable brains. The journey toward humanity had quietly begun. No one could have predicted what these small primates would eventually become. There were no signs of cities. No pyramids. No books. No music. No science. Only small groups of intelligent animals living among leaves and branches beneath the warm African sun. Generation after generation, tiny changes accumulated. Some populations adapted to new environments. Others disappeared. Still others spread into different forests. Each branch followed its own evolutionary path. Millions of years later, one particular branch would begin spending more time on the ground than in the trees. That decision, or rather, that gradual adaptation, would forever change the history of life on Earth. It would lead to walking upright. To toolmaking. To language. To art. To civilization. Some weighed more than 70 tons. These were the dinosaurs. For over 160 million years, dinosaurs ruled Earth. They came in every imaginable shape and size. Some hunted in packs. Some grazed peacefully on giant ferns. Some possessed feathers. Others wore armor made of thick plates or sharp spikes. To any observer, it might have seemed that the age of dinosaurs would last forever. But nature rarely remains the same. About 66 million years ago, an enormous asteroid struck Earth near what is now Mexico. The impact released unimaginable energy. Powerful earthquakes shook the continents. Massive tsunamis crossed entire oceans. Dust and smoke filled the atmosphere, blocking sunlight for months and perhaps years. Plants struggled to survive. Food chains collapsed. Most dinosaur species disappeared forever. Yet not everything was lost. Small mammals survived. These furry creatures had lived quietly alongside dinosaurs for millions of years. Many were no larger than modern squirrels. They hid underground. They ate insects, seeds, fruits, and whatever food they could find. When the dinosaurs vanished, opportunities appeared. Forests slowly recovered. Flowers spread across the land. Fruit-bearing trees became common. The surviving mammals began evolving into many different forms. Some returned to the oceans, eventually becoming whales. Others developed wings and became bats. Still others grew larger, eventually becoming elephants, horses, wolves, and countless other familiar animals. Among these mammals were tiny tree-dwelling creatures that would one day become our earliest relatives. These early primates lived among branches high above the forest floor. Life in the trees required remarkable balance. Strong hands helped them grip branches securely. Flexible shoulders allowed them to climb with ease. Forward-facing eyes improved depth perception, making it easier to judge distances while leaping from one branch to another. Imagine that you are floating high above our planet. There are no airplanes. No roads. No cities. No lights visible from space. Only a beautiful blue world covered by vast oceans, endless forests, towering mountains, and enormous deserts. It is almost impossible to imagine just how old our planet truly is. Scientists estimate that Earth formed about 4.5 billion years ago. If we could shrink Earth's entire history into a single calendar year, modern humans would not appear until the final minutes of December 31st. Everything that happened before us occupied almost the entire calendar. For hundreds of millions of years, Earth looked nothing like it does today. The continents drifted slowly across the planet like giant puzzle pieces. Sometimes they collided to form enormous mountain ranges. Sometimes they separated, creating new oceans between them. Volcanoes erupted with incredible force. Earthquakes reshaped the landscape. Entire coastlines disappeared beneath rising seas. The world was constantly changing. Yet through all this change, life continued adapting. The earliest forms of life were astonishingly simple. Tiny microscopic organisms floated through ancient oceans. They had no eyes. No brains. No bones. Yet these simple organisms changed the atmosphere itself. Slowly, they released oxygen into the air. Without realizing it, they prepared Earth for every complex creature that would eventually follow. Millions of years passed. Then tens of millions. Then hundreds of millions. Life became more diverse. Fish filled the seas. Plants spread across the land. Insects buzzed through the air. Amphibians ventured onto muddy shores. Eventually, reptiles became the dominant animals of the planet. Among them were creatures unlike anything alive today. Some walked on two legs. Others stretched longer than a modern bus. Every feature carries a history stretching back through countless generations. Of course, evolution did not have a destination. It was never trying to create humans. There was no plan. No blueprint. Only countless generations adapting to changing environments. Sometimes those adaptations helped survival. Sometimes they disappeared forever. Many species flourished for millions of years before vanishing. Others gave rise to new branches of life. Our own family tree is surprisingly complicated. It is not a straight line leading from ape to human. Instead, it resembles a vast branching tree. Many human relatives lived alongside one another. Some survived for hundreds of thousands of years. Others disappeared without leaving descendants. Only one branch remains today. That branch is us. Homo sapiens. Modern humans. But our survival was never guaranteed. Many times throughout history, our ancestors came close to extinction. Climate changed. Volcanoes erupted. Ice ages spread across continents. Food became scarce. Predators hunted relentlessly. Yet generation after generation continued the journey. Every one of your ancestors survived long enough to have children. That extraordinary chain stretches backward without interruption for millions of years. It is one of the longest stories ever told. And tonight, we begin at its very beginning. So close your eyes if you wish. Imagine the warm African breeze moving through ancient forests. Listen to distant birds calling across the trees. Hear insects humming softly beneath the evening sky. Somewhere among those forests, the earliest chapters of humanity are quietly waiting. And our journey has only just begun. Before the first human took a single step. Before the first stone tool was shaped. Before the first campfire warmed a family beneath the stars. The earth belonged to countless other forms of life. Tonight, we continue our journey by traveling even farther into the distant past. And for nearly 2 million years, they would become one of the most successful human species ever to live. Imagine standing beside one of them. A fully grown Homo erectus is taller than any of their ancestors. Many stand close to the height of a modern human. Their legs are longer. Their arms are shorter. Their bodies are stronger and better suited for walking great distances beneath the hot African sun. Their faces are still different from ours. Heavy eyebrows cast shadows over intelligent eyes. Their foreheads slope gently backward. Their jaws are powerful, and they have no chin like modern humans. Yet there is something unmistakably familiar about them. If you watched one walking across the open plains from a distance, you might immediately recognize them as human. By now, the world around them has become both a friend and a challenge. The forests that sheltered earlier ancestors have continued to shrink in many regions. Open grasslands stretch for hundreds of kilometers. Food is often scattered across wide areas. To survive, Homo erectus must travel farther than any human species before them. Fortunately, evolution has prepared them well. Their long legs allow them to walk for hours beneath the warm African sun. Their bodies are built for endurance rather than speed. Unlike cheetahs, they cannot sprint quickly. Unlike lions, they possess no sharp claws. Instead, they have patience. They can keep moving long after faster animals become exhausted. Scientists believe Homo erectus may have practiced a hunting method known today as persistence hunting. Imagine a group spotting a large antelope in the early morning. Rather than chasing it at full speed, they simply continue following. The frightened animal runs away. The humans continue walking. Again and again, the animal is forced to flee. Hours pass. The African sun climbs higher into the sky. Most animals cool themselves by panting. Humans possess another remarkable adaptation. Unlike many animals that survive only within a narrow environment, humans learn to live almost everywhere. They do not grow thick fur like bears. They do not develop powerful claws like lions. Instead, they learn. They observe. They remember. They share knowledge. These abilities become more valuable than any physical weapon. As the years pass, the climate itself begins changing. The Earth enters long periods of cooling. Great sheets of ice slowly spread across the northern continents. Scientists call these periods the Ice Ages. Although the name suggests a world completely covered in snow, the reality is more complex. Some regions become frozen. Others remain warm grasslands. Sea levels fall as enormous amounts of water become trapped inside glaciers. Land bridges appear where oceans once separated continents. One such bridge connects Asia to lands that will one day become Indonesia. Another, much later, will connect Siberia and North America. These temporary pathways allow both animals and humans to travel into entirely new worlds. The migrations continue. Some groups settle in the forests of Europe. Others journey east into Asia. Each region slowly shapes the people who live there. Those living in colder climates learn to make better shelters. Animal skins become valuable clothing. Fires burn throughout the night to keep families warm. Children grow up knowing landscapes completely different from those of their African ancestors. Despite these differences, every group remains part of the same remarkable human story. Imagine standing beside one of these families as winter approaches. The air grows colder each day. Leaves begin falling from the trees. The hunters return carrying the meat of a large deer. Everyone works together. Some prepare food. Others repair stone tools. Children collect dry branches for the evening fire. No one survives alone. Every member contributes according to their ability. The elderly, though no longer strong hunters, possess something equally valuable: experience. They remember where rivers continue flowing during dry seasons. They know which plants are safe to eat. They recognize animal tracks hidden in soft earth. Their knowledge becomes a treasure passed from one generation to the next. As language slowly becomes more advanced, these lessons become easier to share. Stories begin carrying important information. A tale about a dangerous valley may protect future generations. A story about a successful hunt teaches valuable strategies. Slowly, storytelling becomes another survival tool. Although these early humans cannot read or write, they are already creating the foundation of human culture. The journey across the world continues for hundreds of thousands of years. Some human species flourish. Others disappear forever. Nature constantly changes. Volcanoes erupt. Earthquakes reshape landscapes. Glaciers advance and retreat. Yet humanity continues adapting. Every obstacle becomes another opportunity to learn. By now, humans have spread farther than any of their ancestors could ever have imagined. The world seems endless. Mountains still wait beyond the horizon. New rivers continue flowing toward unknown lands. Curiosity drives every generation forward. The desire to explore becomes part of human nature itself. Perhaps the same curiosity still lives within us today. It inspires explorers to cross oceans. Scientists to study distant planets. Astronauts to travel into space. The spirit of exploration began long before civilization. It began with small groups walking slowly across ancient landscapes, searching for a better tomorrow. As evening approaches, today's travelers prepare another camp. The fire crackles gently beneath the stars. Children fall asleep listening to the quiet sounds of the wilderness. The adults gaze toward the distant horizon. Tomorrow, they will continue walking. They cannot know that millions of years later, their descendants will build ships to cross oceans. Aircraft to fly above the clouds. And spacecraft to leave Earth itself. Every great journey begins with a single step. And humanity has taken another. The night grows peaceful once more. The stars shine brightly overhead, just as they have for millions of years. The fire burns low. The cool wind whispers through the grass. And somewhere beyond the darkness, another chapter of our remarkable story quietly waits to unfold. The wind has changed. The warm grasslands that once stretched endlessly across the earth are slowly giving way to a colder world. The seasons have become longer and harsher. Snow remains on the mountains for much of the year. Rivers freeze during winter. Forests retreat, replaced by wide open plains where icy winds sweep across the landscape. For countless generations, the climate has been changing. The Earth is entering one of its great ice ages. Although enormous glaciers cover much of northern Europe and North America, not every part of the world is buried beneath ice. Some regions remain grassy and open, while others become dry, cold steppes where only the toughest plants can survive. It is a world of extremes. Yet life continues. Great herds of woolly mammoths wander across the frozen plains. Their thick coats protect them from the bitter cold. Beside them walk shaggy woolly rhinoceroses. Massive bison graze beneath falling snow. Reindeer migrate across hundreds of kilometers in search of food. Hidden among rocky cliffs, cave lions patiently watch for an opportunity to hunt. Farther away, packs of wolves move silently through the white landscape. This is one of the harshest environments any human has ever faced. Yet a remarkable group of people has learned not only to survive, but to thrive. These are the Neanderthals. Scientists know them as Homo neanderthalensis. They first appeared around 400,000 years ago and lived across Europe and parts of Western Asia. For many years, people imagined Neanderthals as clumsy, unintelligent cave dwellers. Modern science tells a very different story. Imagine meeting a Neanderthal family on a cold winter morning. At first glance, they look different from modern humans. Their bodies are shorter and much more muscular. Their chests are broad. Their arms are incredibly strong. Their noses are larger, helping warm the freezing air before it reaches their lungs. Every feature of their body is perfectly adapted for surviving cold climates. They are powerful people. But strength alone is not enough. They are also intelligent. Very intelligent. Their brains are, on average, slightly larger than those of modern humans. A larger brain does not necessarily mean greater intelligence, but it reminds us that Neanderthals were far from primitive. They understood their environment in remarkable detail. They knew where animals migrated. They recognized the changing seasons. They selected the best stone for making tools. They built shelters using wood, animal hides, and natural caves. Imagine standing outside one of their camps. The air is cold enough that every breath forms a cloud. A fire burns steadily in the center of the camp. Children sit close to the warmth while adults prepare for the day's hunt. One hunter carefully sharpens the tip of a wooden spear using a stone blade. Another repairs a fur cloak stitched together with animal sinew. Nearby, someone carefully scrapes the hide of a reindeer, preparing it to become warm clothing. Every task matters. Every skill contributes to survival. Unlike earlier human species, Neanderthals become highly specialized hunters. Working together in small groups, they stalk enormous animals. Imagine a herd of mammoths crossing a snowy valley. The hunters remain hidden behind large rocks. They wait patiently. Hours pass in complete silence. Finally, the moment arrives. The hunters move together with incredible coordination. Each person knows their role. The success of the hunt depends not on individual bravery, but on teamwork. Large animals provide enormous amounts of meat. Their hides become clothing. Their bones become tools. Their tusks are shaped into useful objects. Nothing is wasted. Life in the Ice Age demands careful planning. Scientists have discovered something deeply moving about the Neanderthals. They cared for one another. Archaeologists have found skeletons of individuals who suffered severe injuries. Some lost arms. Others could no longer walk properly. Yet they lived for many years after their injuries. This could only happen if others helped them. Food was shared. The sick were protected. The elderly were respected. Compassion, one of humanity's greatest qualities, did not begin with modern humans. It was already present among our close relatives. Another fascinating discovery suggests that Neanderthals buried their dead. In several ancient sites, archaeologists have found carefully placed skeletons resting in shallow graves. Some appear to have been surrounded by flowers or meaningful objects. No one knows exactly what they believed. Perhaps they wondered what happened after death. Perhaps they honored loved ones through quiet ceremonies. Although we cannot know their thoughts, these discoveries suggest rich emotional lives. They loved. They grieved. They remembered. They were, in many ways, deeply human. As evening falls, the hunters return successfully. The fire grows brighter against the snowy darkness. Families gather close together. Children laugh softly while elders tell stories of great hunts from many winters ago. Outside the circle of firelight, wolves howl beneath the stars. Inside, there is warmth, safety, and belonging. For nearly 300,000 years, Neanderthals flourished across Europe and Western Asia. Generation after generation, they mastered one of the most difficult environments humans had ever known. But change was coming. Far to the south, another human species was slowly evolving. A species with slightly lighter bodies, more delicate faces, and an extraordinary ability to innovate. These newcomers would eventually leave Africa and begin spreading across the world. Their name was Homo sapiens. Modern humans. At first, the two species would meet cautiously. They would share landscapes. Sometimes they would compete. Sometimes they would cooperate. And sometimes they would even form families together. Modern genetic research has revealed that many people alive today still carry a small amount of Neanderthal DNA. A quiet reminder that these ancient people are not completely gone. Part of them still lives within us. The snow continues falling gently. The fire crackles softly. Above the frozen landscape, countless stars fill the silent night. The Neanderthal family settle down to sleep, unaware that history is about to enter a remarkable new chapter. A chapter in which two intelligent human species will walk the earth together. And from that meeting, the future of humanity will be shaped forever. The world is changing once again. The Great Ice Age still grips much of the northern world, but the climate rises and falls in slow, gentle cycles. Some years are colder. Others are slightly warmer. Forests slowly expand, only to retreat again centuries later. Across the vast plains of Africa, a new chapter in the story of life quietly begins. It does not begin with a king, or a battle, or a great invention. It begins with a child. One small child, born into a family of early humans around 300,000 years ago. That child belongs to a species unlike any that has come before. Scientists call them Homo sapiens, a Latin phrase meaning wise human. This is our species. The species to which every person alive today belongs. At first glance, these early Homo sapiens might not appear very different from their ancestors. They still spend their days searching for food. They still rely on stone tools. They still fear powerful predators. Life is still uncertain. Yet hidden inside their minds is something extraordinary. Their brains are capable of imagining things that do not yet exist. They can plan further into the future. They can solve increasingly complex problems. They can share ideas with remarkable detail. And perhaps most importantly, they can imagine. Imagine walking into one of their camps at sunrise. The morning air is cool. Thin smoke rises gently from last night's fire. Families begin waking one by one. Some adults prepare hunting spears. Others gather woven baskets made from grasses and plant fibers. Children chase one another between the shelters, laughing softly. Nearby, an elderly woman carefully teaches a young girl how to shape a sharp stone blade. The lesson is slow. Patient. Every movement has been practiced thousands of times before. Knowledge is no longer simply copied. It is explained. Questions are answered. Mistakes are corrected. Learning itself has become an important part of survival. As generations pass, language becomes richer. Instead of relying only on simple sounds or gestures, people begin using more detailed words. They can describe places beyond the next hill. They can explain where water may be found during the dry season. They can tell stories about events that happened many years earlier. Language transforms human society. Ideas no longer disappear when one person dies. They live on through conversation. Every evening, families gather around the fire. Children listen with wide eyes as elders tell stories of great hunts, dangerous animals, distant rivers, and brave ancestors. Some stories teach valuable lessons. Others simply entertain. Without realizing it, these early humans are preserving history. Not with books, but with memory. The ability to imagine also changes hunting. Instead of reacting only to what they see, hunters begin planning in advance. They observe animal movements over many days. They predict where herds will travel. They create simple strategies before the hunt even begins. Groups become larger. Cooperation becomes stronger. Trust becomes essential. One hunter distracts the prey. Another waits silently behind rocks. Others prepare to surround the animal. Every successful hunt depends upon communication. As tools improve, daily life becomes easier. Stone blades become thinner and sharper. Spears become lighter. Some are fitted with carefully shaped stone points attached using natural tree resin and plant fibers. These improvements may seem small. Yet every tiny innovation saves energy. Every improvement increases the chances of survival. Curiosity drives constant experimentation. Someone discovers that certain stones produce stronger blades. Another notices that heating some materials changes their properties. Children watch. Adults teach. Ideas spread from family to family. Human knowledge begins growing faster than ever before. Then something remarkable happens. People begin creating objects that serve no practical purpose. They decorate shells. They carve small figures from bone. They wear beads made from animal teeth. At first, this might seem unnecessary. But these objects reveal something extraordinary. Humans are beginning to express identity, beauty, creativity, perhaps even belief. Some archaeologists believe these decorations helped identify families or groups. Others think they held spiritual meaning. No one can know for certain. Yet one thing is clear. The human mind has entered a new age. Around this time, artists begin painting on cave walls. Imagine stepping into a quiet cave deep beneath the earth. A small fire flickers against the stone walls. An artist dips fingers into natural pigments made from charcoal, clay, and crushed minerals. Slowly, carefully, images appear. A running horse. A mighty bison. A mammoth covered in thick fur. A graceful deer. These are not random drawings. They are careful observations of the natural world. Some paintings are so detailed that modern experts can identify the exact species shown. Even after tens of thousands of years, they remain astonishingly beautiful. Why were they painted? No one knows. Perhaps they celebrated successful hunts. Perhaps they honored animals. Perhaps they told stories. Perhaps they simply expressed the joy of creating. Whatever the reason, these paintings remind us that imagination had become one of humanity's greatest gifts. As thousands of years pass, Homo sapiens begin leaving Africa. Small groups travel into the Middle East. From there, they spread into Europe, Asia, Australia, and eventually the Americas. Every new land offers fresh challenges. Towering mountains. Dense jungles. Frozen tundra. Vast deserts. Yet humans adapt again and again. Unlike other animals, they do not wait for evolution to change their bodies. Instead, they change their tools. They build better shelters. They make warmer clothing. They invent new hunting techniques. Culture becomes humanity's greatest survival tool. By sharing knowledge, each generation begins where the previous one ended. Progress slowly accelerates. Every discovery builds upon earlier discoveries. Every lesson becomes the foundation for another. And somewhere along this long journey, humans begin asking questions that no other known animal has ever asked. Where did we come from? Why do the stars move across the sky? What happens after death? Who are we? These questions have no simple answers. Yet the desire to ask them marks another step in humanity's remarkable story. The fire burns gently as another peaceful evening arrives. Families gather beneath a sky filled with brilliant stars. Children listen quietly to stories that have been told for countless generations. No one realizes that their descendants will one day build cities, write books, compose music, discover mathematics, explore the oceans, and even walk upon the moon. For now, they are simply people. Living. Learning. Dreaming. And carrying the future of humanity forward with every passing generation. The night grows quiet once again. The wind whispers softly through the grass. The stars shine with the same timeless beauty they have always known. And our journey through the history of humankind continues, one peaceful step at a time. The morning arrives slowly over the ancient world. A thin layer of mist hangs above a quiet valley somewhere in what is now Europe. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of pine forests and damp earth. Far away, snow-covered mountains reflect the golden light of the rising sun. A river winds peacefully through the valley, just as it has for thousands of years. Deer drink quietly at its banks. Wild horses graze across open meadows. The world seems calm. Yet history is about to witness one of its most extraordinary encounters. For the first, and perhaps one of the few times in history, two different human species are about to meet. On one side of the valley lives a small group of Neanderthals. Their families have called these lands home for hundreds of thousands of years. They know every cave, every river, and every migration route of the animals. This is their world. But from the south, another group is slowly approaching. They are Homo sapiens. Our own ancestors. Generation after generation, they have traveled farther from Africa, crossing deserts, mountains, and forests until they finally reach Europe. Neither group knows that another kind of human exists. Imagine the moment. A Neanderthal hunter climbs a rocky hillside, searching for signs of reindeer. Suddenly, he notices movement in the distance. At first, he assumes it is another member of his own group. But something feels different. The strangers are taller and more slender. Their faces are smoother. Their foreheads are higher. They carry unfamiliar tools. Across the valley, a Homo sapiens hunter also stops walking. He sees figures unlike any people he has ever encountered. For several long moments, neither group moves. Only the wind whispers through the grass. Birds continue singing, unaware that history is unfolding below. What happened next? The truth is, no one knows. There were no written records. No paintings describing that first meeting. Only silent clues buried beneath the earth. Archaeologists have spent decades studying those clues. Some suggest the two groups avoided each other whenever possible. Others believe they sometimes competed for hunting grounds and shelter. In difficult winters, food may have become scarce. When survival is uncertain, competition often follows. Yet another possibility is even more remarkable. Modern genetic research has revealed that many people alive today, especially those whose ancestors lived outside Africa, carry a small percentage of Neanderthal DNA. This discovery tells us something extraordinary. At least some Homo sapiens and Neanderthals did not remain strangers. They formed families. Children were born. Their descendants continued living and eventually became part of the growing population of modern humans. Even today, traces of those ancient meetings remain inside our own DNA. In a way, the Neanderthals have never completely disappeared. A small part of their story continues within millions of people around the world. As the centuries pass, Homo sapiens continue expanding across Europe. Their populations slowly grow. They create more advanced tools from carefully shaped stone, bone, and antler. Some invent needles made from animal bones, allowing warm clothing to be stitched with remarkable precision. Others create fishing hooks and nets, opening new sources of food. Art becomes increasingly sophisticated. Deep inside caves, painters cover stone walls with magnificent images of horses, bison, lions, and mammoths. Some artists even place their painted hands against the cave walls, leaving silent signatures that remain visible more than 30,000 years later. Music may also have entered human life. Archaeologists have discovered ancient flutes carved from bird bones and mammoth ivory. Imagine the sound. A gentle melody drifting across the evening air as families gather around a warm fire. The music echoes softly through the valley. Perhaps children smile. Perhaps elders close their eyes and listen. For the first time, beauty itself becomes part of everyday life. Meanwhile, Neanderthals continue living as they always have. They remain skilled hunters. Strong survivors. Loving families. But slowly, their numbers begin to decline. Scientists continue debating exactly why. Perhaps changing climates reduced the animals they depended upon. Perhaps competition for resources became increasingly difficult. Perhaps their smaller population made recovery from disease or harsh winters more challenging. Most likely, there was no single reason. Instead, many small challenges combined over thousands of years. Eventually, around 40,000 years ago, the last known Neanderthal communities disappeared. There was no single final battle. No dramatic ending. Only the quiet passing of one remarkable branch of humanity. The forests remained. The rivers continued flowing. The stars still filled the night sky. But one human species was gone. Only Homo sapiens remained. For the first time in millions of years, Earth was home to just one human species. Our species. Yet the disappearance of the Neanderthals was not the end of the story. It was the beginning of a new chapter. Without realizing it, Homo sapiens now carried the responsibility of shaping the future of the planet. Their curiosity would soon lead them across every continent. They would sail oceans. Cross frozen lands. Discover isolated islands. Adapt to deserts, rainforests, mountains, and Arctic tundra. Every corner of Earth would eventually become home. But before cities. Before kings. Before writing. Another great revolution was waiting. For thousands of years, humans had lived as hunters and gatherers, following the seasons wherever food could be found. Soon, they would make a discovery so important that it would completely transform human life forever. They would learn to grow their own food. The seeds of civilization were about to be planted. As darkness gently settles across the ancient valley, the campfires burn quietly beneath a sky filled with countless stars. The voices of Neanderthals have faded into history. Yet their legacy remains. Their courage, their resilience, their compassion. And even a small part of their DNA continues to travel through time, carried by generations who would never know their names. The wind grows softer. The fire burns lower. The valley becomes silent once more. And somewhere, far beyond the horizon, the first fields of wild grain sway gently in the evening breeze, waiting for humanity to make its next great discovery. The morning arrives gently over a quiet valley. A soft golden light spills across rolling hills, where wild grasses sway peacefully in the cool breeze. The air is fresh after a light rain during the night. Small birds flutter between bushes, singing cheerful songs as they search for seeds. Nearby, a narrow river winds slowly through the landscape, reflecting the pale blue sky above. For tens of thousands of years, human families have followed these rivers. They have wandered wherever food could be found. They have hunted deer through forests. They have caught fish from rivers. They have gathered berries, nuts, roots, and fruits from the land. Every season brings another journey. Every year begins with uncertainty. Some years are generous. Others are cruel. A long drought may leave rivers nearly dry. A harsh winter may drive away the animals. No family knows what tomorrow will bring. But now, something extraordinary is about to happen. Not through war. Not through conquest. Not through chance. But through quiet observation. Imagine a young woman walking beside the river after gathering wild grasses. As she empties her woven basket near the family's camp, a few seeds accidentally fall onto the damp soil. The family thinks nothing of it. Days pass. Then weeks. One morning, tiny green shoots begin pushing through the earth. The seeds have begun to grow. Perhaps someone notices. Perhaps no one does. But over many generations, countless families begin making similar observations. Seeds dropped into soft soil often return as new plants. The connection is simple. Yet it will change the future forever. Humans begin experimenting. Instead of merely collecting wild grains, they deliberately plant them. Instead of searching endlessly for food, they begin helping food grow. This remarkable transformation begins around 12,000 years ago, in a region historians call the Fertile Crescent. Stretching across parts of the modern Middle East, this land contains rich soil, gentle rivers, and many wild grasses suitable for cultivation. Early farmers begin growing wheat and barley. The harvest is small. The work is difficult. Yet every successful season brings hope. Families no longer need to wander quite so far. For the first time, some people remain in one place throughout the year. Imagine standing beside one of these early villages. The homes are simple. Walls are built from mud bricks. Roofs are covered with branches, reeds, and clay. Smoke rises quietly from cooking fires. Children laugh as they chase one another between the houses. Dogs rest peacefully beside their human companions. Unlike wolves, these animals have slowly become trusted friends. Thousands of years earlier, some wolves had begun following human camps, feeding on scraps left behind after meals. The friendliest wolves stayed close. Humans discovered that these animals warned them when strangers or predators approached. Generation after generation, wolves slowly changed. They became smaller, gentler, more trusting. Eventually, they became dogs. The first domesticated animal. Now dogs help guard the growing villages. At sunrise, farmers walk into nearby fields carrying simple wooden digging sticks. Some scatter seeds across freshly turned soil. Others remove weeds competing with young crops. The work is slow. Their hands become rough. Their backs ache from bending over the fields. Yet the reward is unlike anything their ancestors had ever known. Food can now be stored. Instead of eating everything immediately, families build clay containers filled with grain. These stores provide security during difficult seasons. For the first time, people begin thinking not only about today, but about next year. Agriculture changes almost every part of human life. Families grow larger because more food is available. Villages expand. Neighbors cooperate to build houses, dig irrigation channels, and harvest crops before the changing weather destroys them. New skills appear. Some people become excellent potters, shaping clay into bowls and storage jars. Others become skilled builders. Some spend their days making stronger tools. People no longer need to perform every task themselves. Communities become increasingly specialized. Trade begins to flourish. One village possesses excellent stone for making tools. Another has fertile farmland. A third gathers beautiful shells from distant coastlines. People exchange goods peacefully. Ideas travel alongside them. Knowledge spreads farther than ever before. Yet agriculture also brings new challenges. Living close together allows diseases to spread more easily. Harvests sometimes fail. Arguments arise over land and water. For the first time, people begin claiming specific places as their own. The peaceful simplicity of wandering life slowly gives way to more complex societies. Still, humanity continues moving forward. Around the evening fire, grandparents tell children stories of a time when their ancestors followed herds across endless grasslands. The children listen with fascination. To them, the village is home. The fields are familiar. The idea of wandering forever seems strange. The world has changed. And there is no turning back. As centuries pass, villages become towns. Towns become cities. Stone buildings replace simple huts. People invent writing to record harvests and trade. Leaders emerge to organize growing communities. The first civilizations begin to rise beside great rivers, the Nile in Africa, the Tigris and Euphrates in Mesopotamia, the Indus in South Asia, and the Yellow River in China. From these fertile valleys will come mathematics, astronomy, architecture, literature, and the foundations of the modern world. Yet all of it. Every great city. Every magnificent temple. Every library. Every scientific discovery can trace its origins back to one simple observation. A seed falling into the earth. Quietly growing beneath the warm sunlight. As evening settles over the little farming village, families gather outside their homes. Fresh bread bakes over warm fires. Children help grind grain into flour. The scent of roasted food drifts gently through the cool air. Above them, the same stars shine that guided their wandering ancestors for countless generations. The stars have not changed. But humanity has. The long age of wandering is ending. A new age has begun. The age of villages. Of farming. Of civilization. And although these early farmers cannot imagine the future that awaits them, they have already taken one of the most important steps in the entire history of our species. Tonight, the village grows quiet. The fires burn low. The fields rest beneath the moonlight. And somewhere, deep within the fertile soil, thousands of tiny seeds wait patiently for another sunrise. The sun rises slowly over a peaceful river valley. Golden light spreads across fields of wheat, their heads gently swaying in the morning breeze. A farmer steps outside a small mud brick house and pauses for a moment. He watches the river flowing quietly nearby, just as it has for thousands of years. The water is more than a beautiful sight. It is life itself. Every year, when the river floods its banks, it leaves behind rich, dark soil. That fertile earth allows crops to grow stronger than ever before. Families no longer wonder where tomorrow's meal will come from. Instead, they begin wondering something entirely new. What else can we build? This simple question changes human history forever. For countless generations, villages have grown larger. More children are born. More homes are built. The sound of daily life fills the air. People no longer know every face in their community. The village has become a town. And soon, the town becomes something the world has never seen before. A city. Imagine standing on a hill overlooking one of the first great cities nearly 5,500 years ago. Below you, hundreds of homes stretch across the landscape. Narrow streets wind between buildings made of mud bricks. Smoke rises gently from cooking fires. Children laugh as they run through busy marketplaces. Farmers arrive carrying baskets filled with grain, vegetables, and fruit. Nearby, fishermen unload fresh fish from small wooden boats. Potters carefully display beautifully crafted clay jars. Blacksmiths hammer glowing metal into useful tools. The city is alive. Unlike the small camps of early hunters, this place never truly sleeps. At sunrise, workers begin building new homes. At midday, merchants negotiate trades from distant lands. At sunset, families gather for meals while musicians play simple melodies beneath the evening sky. The world has become more connected than ever before. One of the earliest civilizations rises in a region called Mesopotamia, located between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. The people who live here are known as the Sumerians. They are remarkable innovators. They invent one of humanity's greatest achievements: writing. Before writing, every story, every law, and every important piece of knowledge depended entirely upon memory. If an elder died before sharing their wisdom, that knowledge could disappear forever. Writing changes everything. Imagine a young scribe sitting quietly inside a cool building. Before him lies a small tablet made from soft clay. Using a pointed reed, he carefully presses tiny wedge-shaped marks into the surface. Each mark carries meaning. Some represent numbers. Others represent words. For the first time in history, human thoughts can survive long after the writer is gone. The invention is simple. Yet its impact is impossible to measure. Ideas can now travel across generations. Kings record laws. Farmers record harvests. Merchants record trade. Priests record religious ceremonies. History itself begins to take shape. As cities continue growing, another challenge appears. How should thousands of people live together peacefully? Rules become necessary. Leaders organize workers. Engineers design canals to carry water into distant fields. Builders raise enormous temples reaching toward the sky. These temples are called ziggurats. From a distance, they resemble giant staircases built from stone and brick. People believe these sacred places connect Earth with the heavens above. Meanwhile, across northeastern Africa, another great civilization flourishes beside the mighty Nile River. Every year, the Nile floods predictably. Its waters nourish the surrounding land. Ancient Egyptians become master farmers, builders, and engineers. Imagine standing on the banks of the Nile at sunrise. Long wooden boats glide silently across the calm water. Farmers lead oxen through fertile fields. Children carry baskets filled with fresh vegetables. In the distance, enormous limestone blocks are pulled slowly across the sand. Thousands of workers cooperate to build monuments unlike anything the world has ever seen. The pyramids. Even today, more than 4,000 years later, they continue inspiring wonder. Without modern machines. Without engines. Without cranes. Ancient builders create structures that survive the passage of time. How? Not through magic. Not through impossible technology, but through careful planning, teamwork, mathematics, and extraordinary determination. Far away, along the Indus River, another civilization quietly develops. Its cities are astonishingly organized. Wide streets intersect beside China's Yellow River. Farming communities include advanced drainage systems. Each civilization develops unique traditions. Order and cleanliness become important parts of daily life. Different beliefs. Different forms of art. Yet all share something important. They depend upon cooperation. No city can survive without farmers growing food. No farmer can succeed without tools made by skilled craftsmen. No builder can raise great monuments alone. Civilization itself becomes a giant network of people helping one another. Trade expands farther than ever before. Merchants carry copper, tin, spices, precious stones, cloth, and pottery across deserts and seas. Ideas travel alongside these goods. New inventions spread from one civilization to another. The wheel becomes widely used. Sailing ships improve. Metal tools become stronger. Knowledge grows faster with every passing century. As darkness falls over the ancient cities, oil lamps begin glowing inside homes. Families gather together after another busy day. Parents tell stories. Children listen with curiosity. Some dream of becoming skilled builders. Others hope to travel distant lands as merchants. A few will become scribes, preserving knowledge for generations yet unborn. Above the cities, the stars remain unchanged. They watched the first humans discover fire. They watched hunters cross frozen plains. They watched farmers plant their first seeds. And now, they shine silently over the first civilizations. Humanity has traveled an extraordinary distance. From small groups wandering the African savanna to magnificent cities filled with thousands of people. Yet this is only the beginning. In the centuries ahead, civilizations will rise and fall. Empires will appear. Explorers will cross oceans. Scientists will unlock the mysteries of nature. Inventors will transform the world again and again. Every achievement will rest upon the foundation built by these first great cities. The night grows peaceful. The marketplace becomes quiet. The last cooking fires fade into glowing embers. A cool breeze carries the scent of the river through empty streets. And beneath the endless stars, civilization sleeps, waiting for another dawn. The first light of dawn slowly spreads across the rooftops of an ancient city. The streets are quiet. Only a few merchants are awake, preparing their goods before the marketplace fills with people. A baker places fresh bread into a clay oven. A potter carefully shapes wet clay upon a spinning wheel. Nearby, a young student sits beside an elderly teacher, learning to read symbols carved into a smooth clay tablet. For thousands of years, humanity has changed in remarkable ways. The first humans wandered across Africa carrying only simple stone tools. Now, cities stand beside mighty rivers. Farmers harvest fields of grain. Builders raise temples toward the sky. Writers record history. The story of humanity has entered a new chapter. Civilizations continue growing larger. Some become peaceful trading centers. Others become powerful kingdoms. Leaders dream of expanding their lands. Armies march across valleys and mountains. New cities are built. Others slowly disappear beneath the sands of time. Empires rise. Empires fall. Yet through every success and every hardship, human knowledge continues to grow. Imagine walking through the streets of an ancient Egyptian city. The Nile River sparkles beneath the afternoon sun. Large wooden boats carry grain, papyrus, and stone between distant towns. Children laugh while chasing one another along dusty roads. Craftsmen carve beautiful statues from limestone. Priests quietly enter great temples where incense fills the cool air. Life is busy. Orderly. Connected. Far to the east, in ancient India, scholars begin asking deep questions about mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy. They observe the movement of the stars. They calculate numbers with astonishing precision. They explore ideas that will influence generations to come. In ancient China, inventors create new technologies. Paper is developed, making writing easier than ever before. The compass helps travelers find their direction. Silk becomes one of the world's most valuable materials, carried thousands of kilometers across deserts and mountains. This great network of trade becomes known as the Silk Road. Imagine standing beside a caravan of merchants crossing the desert. Hundreds of camels walk slowly beneath the hot sun. Each carries precious cargo. Silk. Spices. Tea. Jewelry. Books. Ideas. Trade is no longer just about goods. It is about sharing knowledge. A new invention discovered in one civilization soon appears in another. A story told in one language is translated into many others. The world is becoming increasingly connected. Meanwhile, across the Mediterranean Sea, the ancient Greeks begin studying nature itself. Rather than accepting every mystery without question, many philosophers ask, why? Why do the stars move? Why do seasons change? Why does rain fall? These simple questions become the foundation of science. Among them are brilliant thinkers who study mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and logic. They remind humanity that curiosity is one of our greatest strengths. Centuries later, the Romans build one of the largest empires the world has ever known. They construct roads stretching thousands of kilometers. Stone bridges cross mighty rivers. Aqueducts carry fresh water into growing cities. Even today, many of these structures remain standing. They are lasting reminders of human creativity and engineering. But no empire lasts forever. History moves like the changing seasons. Power shifts from one civilization to another. Some cities are abandoned. Others become thriving centers of learning. Libraries preserve ancient knowledge through difficult times. Monks carefully copy books by hand, ensuring that wisdom is not lost. As centuries pass, new ideas begin spreading across the world. Universities are founded. Students travel long distances to learn mathematics, medicine, law, and philosophy. Knowledge is no longer limited to a single place. It belongs to anyone willing to seek it. Then comes another remarkable chapter. The Age of Exploration. Imagine standing on the deck of a wooden sailing ship. The wind fills enormous white sails. The coastline slowly disappears behind the horizon. For the first time, explorers cross vast oceans whose endings are unknown. They navigate using the stars above. Weeks become months. Months become years. Some journeys end in failure. Others reveal lands that few outsiders have ever seen. These voyages connect continents in ways that had never been possible before. New plants, animals, foods, and ideas travel across oceans. The world becomes smaller, not because the Earth has changed, but because humans have learned to reach farther than ever before. As exploration continues, another revolution quietly begins. Scientists invent better telescopes. For the first time, they observe planets in remarkable detail. Others build microscopes, revealing tiny worlds invisible to the naked eye. People begin understanding that nature follows consistent laws. Careful observation replaces guesswork. Experiments become increasingly important. Knowledge grows faster than ever before. The Industrial Revolution follows. Steam engines roar to life. Factories appear beside rivers. Railways connect distant cities. Ships powered by engines replace those driven only by wind. The pace of human progress accelerates dramatically. Electricity transforms the night. Homes glow with light after sunset. Telephones carry voices across great distances. Automobiles replace horse-drawn wagons. Airplanes lift humans into the sky. Within just a few generations, humanity achieves what earlier civilizations could scarcely imagine. And still, the journey continues. The 20th century brings astonishing discoveries. Doctors develop medicines that save millions of lives. Scientists unlock the structure of DNA, revealing the very code of life itself. Engineers build computers capable of performing calculations in seconds that once required years. Then, in 1969, something extraordinary happens. A human being steps onto the surface of the moon. Imagine that moment. Looking back toward Earth from another world. The blue planet hangs silently in the darkness of space. From such a distance, no borders can be seen. No kingdoms. No nations. Only one shared home. The same planet where our earliest ancestors once walked across the African savanna millions of years ago. The journey from stone tools to space travel is almost impossible to comprehend. Yet every step follows naturally from the one before it. Curiosity. Learning. Cooperation. Innovation. These have always been humanity's greatest strengths. As the evening grows quiet once more, imagine looking up at the stars. Our ancestors once wondered what those tiny lights might be. Today, spacecraft travel among them. Robotic explorers roam distant planets. Powerful telescopes search for worlds beyond our own. The spirit of exploration that began with small groups leaving Africa still lives within us. The fire beside the ancient campsite has become the engines of rockets. The first stone tool has become advanced technology. The stories once spoken around campfires are now shared across the entire world. Humanity has traveled farther than anyone could have imagined. Yet perhaps, the greatest adventures are still waiting. The stars shine gently overhead. The cool night air grows still. The long story of human evolution continues. One generation at a time. The night is quiet. A gentle breeze moves through the leaves of an ancient oak tree. Above, countless stars shine with the same soft light that guided our earliest ancestors across the African savanna millions of years ago. Although the world below has changed beyond recognition, the stars remain almost exactly as they were when the first humans looked up in wonder. Tonight, our journey brings us to the present day. After millions of years of change. After countless generations of survival. After the rise and fall of civilizations, one fascinating question remains. Has human evolution ended? At first, it may seem that it has. Modern cities stretch across every continent. Towering buildings reach toward the clouds. Fast trains race across countries. Airplanes carry millions of people through the sky every day. Satellites circle high above the Earth. Powerful computers fit inside our pockets. Compared with our ancestors, we appear to have mastered the world. But appearances can be misleading. The truth is, evolution never truly stops. As long as living things continue having children. As long as small genetic differences exist. As long as environments continue changing. Evolution quietly continues. It simply moves far more slowly than a single human lifetime. Imagine a newborn child entering the world today. Like every child before them, they inherit tiny variations from their parents. Most changes are so small that no one notices them. Some affect height. Others influence eye color. Some shape the immune system. Others change how the body processes certain foods. Generation after generation, these tiny differences continue passing through families. One remarkable example can be found in the simple act of drinking milk. Thousands of years ago, most adults lost the ability to digest fresh milk after childhood. Then, among early farming communities, a small genetic change appeared. Some adults continued producing an enzyme called lactase, allowing them to digest milk throughout life. For communities that raised cattle, goats, and sheep, this became a valuable advantage. Milk provided nutrition during difficult seasons. Over many generations, this ability became common in some parts of the world. It is a reminder that evolution did not stop with the Stone Age. It continued into recorded history. And it continues today. Our immune systems also continue adapting. Throughout history, humanity has faced countless diseases. Each epidemic placed pressure upon populations. Individuals with helpful genetic variations often had a greater chance of surviving and raising children. Slowly, the human immune system changed. It remains one of the fastest changing parts of our biology. Yet something unusual has happened during the past few centuries. Instead of waiting for evolution alone, humans have begun changing their environment faster than evolution can respond. We build heated homes instead of growing thicker fur. We create medicines instead of relying only on natural resistance. We wear glasses rather than evolving sharper eyesight. We invent airplanes rather than growing wings. Technology has become humanity's newest survival tool. For millions of years, evolution shaped our bodies. Now, our intelligence increasingly shapes the world around us. Scientists often describe this as cultural evolution. Ideas can spread across the world in minutes. An invention made in one country is quickly adopted by another. Knowledge grows far faster than genes can change. This ability to learn from one another has become our greatest evolutionary advantage. Imagine showing a smartphone to Homo erectus. Or a telescope to a Neanderthal. Or an electric light to the first farmers. They would almost certainly see these inventions as impossible. Yet every one of them exists because countless generations shared knowledge. No single person invented civilization. It was built, piece by piece, across thousands of years. Each generation added another stone to the foundation. As the 21st century unfolds, humanity faces new challenges. Climate change. Protecting nature. Finding clean sources of energy. Preventing disease. Exploring space. These problems require the same qualities that helped our ancestors survive millions of years ago. Curiosity. Cooperation. Creativity. Compassion. Our greatest strength has never been physical power. It has always been our ability to work together. Perhaps one day humans will establish permanent settlements on the moon. Perhaps children will grow up on Mars, looking back at Earth as a distant blue star. If that day comes, evolution may once again shape our species in unexpected ways. Life on another world could slowly influence the human body over thousands of generations. Just as Africa shaped our earliest ancestors, new worlds may shape our distant descendants. No one can know exactly what the future holds. But one thing seems certain. The story of humanity is not finished. It is still being written. Every newborn child becomes part of that story. Every discovery adds another chapter. Every act of kindness, every new idea, every question asked with curiosity continues a journey that began millions of years ago beneath the warm skies of ancient Africa. The night grows quieter now. The wind slows. The stars shine peacefully above our shared home. For millions of years they have watched our ancestors learn to walk, to make tools, to master fire, to paint caves, to build cities, and to reach beyond the earth itself. Perhaps they will continue watching for millions of years more. And somewhere in that distant future, our descendants may look back upon us just as we have looked back upon our earliest ancestors. With wonder, with gratitude, and with curiosity about the long road that brought them there. The day has come to an end. The sun slowly disappears beyond the distant horizon, painting the sky with soft shades of gold, orange, and deep violet. A gentle breeze moves quietly across the land. The same breeze that once touched the faces of our earliest ancestors now brushes softly across forests, deserts, mountains, and cities all around the world. The earth grows peaceful once again. As darkness settles, countless stars begin appearing overhead. They are the same stars that watched tiny primates swing through ancient forests millions of years ago. The same stars that watched Homo habilis shape the very first stone tools. The same stars that reflected in the eyes of Homo erectus as they protected their precious campfires. The same stars that shone above Neanderthal families resting beside warm fires after long winter hunts. And the same stars that guided Homo sapiens across rivers, deserts, mountains, and oceans. Tonight, they shine above us. Our journey through time is almost complete. We have traveled across more than 6 million years of history. We have watched our ancestors learn to stand upright. We watched curious hands transform simple stones into tools. We watched the first glowing fire become the center of family life. We crossed frozen landscapes beside mammoths. We entered dark caves where artists painted beautiful animals by the flickering light of burning torches. We stood beside the first farmers planting tiny seeds into rich soil. We watched villages become cities. Cities become kingdoms. Kingdoms become civilizations. We witnessed humanity discover mathematics, writing, medicine, astronomy, engineering, and finally, the stars themselves. What makes this journey truly extraordinary is not strength. Humans were never the strongest creatures on Earth. We could not outrun cheetahs. We could not overpower elephants. We had no wings to fly. No thick fur to protect us from freezing winters. No sharp claws. No powerful fangs. Instead, we possessed something different. Curiosity. When our ancestors found an unusual stone, they picked it up. When they saw fire, they did not simply run away forever. They learned from it. When they reached the edge of a river, they wondered what lay beyond. When they looked toward the night sky, they asked questions. That curiosity became the greatest force in human history. Every invention, every discovery, every work of art, every scientific breakthrough began with someone asking a simple question. What if? Perhaps that question is the true gift of humanity. As millions of years passed, another remarkable quality appeared alongside curiosity. Kindness. Again and again, archaeology reminds us that our ancestors cared for one another. The injured were protected. Children were loved. Knowledge was shared. Food was divided among families. No civilization was built by one person alone. Everything humanity has ever achieved has been built through cooperation. Thousands of hands working together. Millions of minds sharing ideas. Billions of lives connected across generations. Think for a moment about your own existence. Behind every person alive today stands an unbroken chain of ancestors stretching back through time. Parents. Grandparents. Great-grandparents. Thousands of generations. Each survived long enough to pass life forward. Each overcame challenges they could never have imagined. Had even one generation failed, none of us would be here today. It is a humbling thought. Every heartbeat inside your body carries echoes of an ancient past. Your hands resemble those that once climbed trees. Your eyes inherited the ability to judge distances across forests. Your brain carries the result of millions of years of learning and adaptation. You are, in many ways, a living chapter in the longest story ever told. Yet our story is far from finished. Children born tonight will grow into a world very different from our own. They may witness discoveries beyond anything we can imagine. They may explore distant planets, develop new medicines, create technologies still unknown. Or perhaps they will simply continue humanity's oldest tradition. Learning something new. Passing that knowledge to the next generation. And allowing the story to continue. The future remains unwritten. Just as our ancestors once looked beyond the next hill, we look beyond tomorrow. Always wondering. Always exploring. Always learning. Now, imagine standing quietly beneath a perfectly clear night sky. There are no city lights. No engines. No noise. Only the gentle sound of the wind moving through tall grass. The stars stretch endlessly from one horizon to the other. Somewhere far away, an owl calls softly through the darkness. A small stream flows gently over smooth stones. The fire before you burns low. Its warm orange glow dances across the ground. You are sitting beside every generation that came before you. The first curious primates. The brave hunters of the Ice Age. The first artists. The first farmers. The builders of ancient cities. The explorers who crossed unknown seas. The scientists who uncovered the secrets of nature. The astronauts who reached the moon. They are all part of one continuous journey. And so are you. Take one slow, peaceful breath. Imagine the warmth of the fire. The cool night air. The endless stars above. Feel the quiet comfort of knowing that you are connected to one of the most extraordinary stories the universe has ever known. The story of life. The story of hope. The story of curiosity. The story of humanity. As the fire slowly fades into glowing embers, the world becomes silent. The wind grows softer. The stars continue their timeless journey across the night sky. And somewhere, far beyond our imagination, the next chapter of human history patiently waits to be written. For now, our journey has reached its peaceful end. May your thoughts become as calm as the ancient rivers. May your dreams wander gently beneath the same stars that guided our ancestors for millions of years. And may the quiet story of human evolution remain with you, reminding you that every ending is also the beginning of another journey. Good night. Sleep peacefully.